Framing a wall for any type of home is not exactly rocket science. It is, however, a discipline that requires attention, precision, and some skill. Framing a wall for a tiny home has even its own set of rules. Without solid walls, you can't expect your tiny house to go cruising down the highway and stay intact. You have to use quality materials, precise measurements, adequate hardware, and accurate framing technique. For our build, we spent the entire day before framing doing nothing but measuring, pre-cutting things like jack studs, cripples, and corner studs. We marked out areas like the door hole and window holes on our subfloor so we could easily make reference. And so after a 6 or 7 hour day of cutting, nailing, and more nailing, we ended up with a framed tiny house that we were proud of and confident in. When talking about framing a wall or setting walls up, a lot of people ask, well, what exactly does a framed wall consist of? So I want to point out this diagram for just a few seconds. I want to look at letter A. Letter A is very simply a doubled 2x4 header. It supports weight. It also is the top portion of your door holes and your wall holes. Moving on to letter B, we have our 2x4 top plate. Now a lot of people, including ourselves, or including myself rather, decided to do a double top plate. That way it supports the weight of the entire roof structure. Moving on to letter C, we have a traditional 2x4 stud. You can find them at pretty much any hardware store or big box store for in between $2 and $3. Then of course we have letter D. Now this is the bottom plate or the sill plate, and it's traditionally made of a 2x4. Now I have seen some tiny houses that choose to use a 2x6. Whatever the case, you want to make sure that this is firmly attached to your subfloor and to your trailer. Moving on to letter E, we're looking at essentially our jack stud, which is going to frame out your window. The jack stud is, typically, it's the size of a stud minus the size of your doubled header. So you would take the 2x4 stud, measure it, and then subtract how wide, or subtract rather the measurement of your doubled window header, and that would give you the size of your jack stud. Moving on to letter F, we have the 2x4 king stud. Now, that may not always be 16-inch on center, but you need to firm that up next to your jack stud so that you have a solid foundation for both your windows and your door. Moving on to letter G is our sill plate. It's basically the bottom of the window, as in window sill. And then lastly, letter H, which is our cripple stud. It supports the weight of all of our windows throughout the tiny house. So one of the things that seems to be a mystery about building a tiny house is how to account for your wheel wells. Now, some people, when they buy trailers, they already have the metal wheel well, and perhaps they choose to build within the parameters of those wheel wells. We've decided on our build that we're actually going to encompass the wheel well into our design. So our interior space will actually have a box built around the wheel well to allow for safe driving, safe towing, but also to maximize our interior space. So the way we did this was really quite simple. We followed our normal stud pattern, and then what we did was, you can see that the wheels are not on. We've taken them off on this side, but on the other side they are. So we simply measured from our subfloor to the top of the wheel, allowing ourselves plenty of clearance room. We then went ahead and cut some of our standard 2x4 so we could create that box. We went up the height, and then we added the tree to the structure. It increases the amount of weight that can be put on it, as well as support. So from here, if we were to stand the wall up, this would clear our wheel well. But what we've got to do now is we've measured out where our stud pattern is to our top plate, so we're going to cut studs for that, and we're going to go ahead and add those in, so that when we go ahead and lift our wall, our bottom plate's there and our top plate is up there. We've got a nice header type of structure right here over the wheel well. It'll totally support the weight of our tiny house, but also a lot for clearance for the wheel well. So that's pretty much how you build a wheel box.